have you ever bought a pig in a poke? Probably not, at least not literally, since it's a phrase that goes back to the Middle Ages in England. In those days, meat was scarce and con men would come to market with piglets. They would make a deal with the buyer and agree to hold it for them. At the end of the day, the buyer would pick up his pig in a poke, a French word for bag and the root of our word pocket. It was tied up tight, and the buyer might not open it until later to find a cat instead. So, to buy a pig in a poke is to buy something without making sure we got what we paid for. By the way, that's also where we got the phrase, let the cat out of the bag. Well, that's probably how Balak felt after he offered to pay Balaam to curse Israel, only to have him pronounce God's blessings on them. As we saw Monday, he was quite angry about it. Then Balak's anger burned against Balaam, and he struck his hands together. And Balak said to Balaam, I called you to curse my enemies, but behold, you have persisted in blessing them these 3 times. Therefore, flee to your place now. I said I would honor you greatly, but behold, the Lord has held you back from honor. Numbers 24, verses 10 and 11. Clearly, he didn't understand God or real prophecy. As an idolater, he thought prophecy was paying someone to tell him what he wanted to hear. God, or in his case the gods, were bought and paid for according to human rules. When Balaam didn't deliver, Balak was sure he had bought a pig and got a cat instead. We're not all that different from Balak, are we? Not really when you get right down to it. Think carefully before answering. Do your discussions about faith and religious practices start with the 1-letter word I, as in, I like this or I don't like that? I like worship that's quick and peppy. I like worship that's solemn and somber. I like a lot of songs. I like a long or short sermon. On and on we could go. That says we think God's will is subject to our likes and dislikes. If that's the case, then we're just like Balak. Ladies and gentlemen, we may buy into a faith that requires little change, but when we learn that God actually wants complete obedience and a total transformation, well, we may not like what we bought and refuse to open that bag. Well, come back for tomorrow's Morning Minutes in the Bible, where we will explore how Balaam tried to get around God's prohibition against cursing Israel. Until then, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.